Hillary, when is a final decision expected in this case?
Yeah, it's going to take a while. The judge didn't give an exact date, but he said it's going to be probably close to 35, 40 days before he can make a decision. He's got a lot of documents to review, a lot of testimony to review, and many things to consider here. He also said he needs to take a look at the law and consider that again and make sure that he's following the law. Now, this really is about the people who have lost their lives and their families left behind, trying to deal with this incredible tragedy. We talked to the father of Buck Meir, who was in court, and he had to actually watch video when all of this went down, coming face to face with that kind of pain, and hearing from Karen McDonald, the prosecutor, who said, this is someone who callously planned this. The shooter putting paper in his ears, the shooter planning what he was going to do, using a map, deciding exactly how he would execute 4 of his classmates. Ultimately, this is about the people who can't speak for themselves and the families who have to wait for some semblance of justice. It's about the 4 teens who were callously gunned down at Oxford High by someone who the prosecution says meticulously planned to deal out destruction.
We don't have any closure. We don't have any answers for that day.
The state asking that the shooter be sentenced to life without parole, taking into consideration deterrence, punishment, retribution, protection of the public, and whether he can be rehabilitated. The state making the case he can't, using his own words to prove that.
He wrote, "But I want to do bad. It satisfies me." He wrote, "Killing the innocent is the same as killing the bad. It both satisfies." And he wrote, "Scary thing is I like being this. I like it. I like being like this."
Defense arguing the opposite, that he has mental illness and, quote, his brain was on fire and that through proper intervention, meds and therapy, he can be rehabbed.
Ethan's sick brain can be repaired.
Video shortly after the tragedy going to the shooter's state of mind. At the center of much of the expert testimony, was he mentally ill at the time this happened? Or were these actions just the result of evil intent? An expert for the prosecution testifying there is no evidence of psychosis.
It was very planned, demonstrated his capacity for delay, and suggested the ability to conform his conduct.
The shooter has already pleaded guilty to several charges, including terrorism and murder. The judge must weigh multiple factors to make a decision. His defense arguing there are mitigating factors here, like his poor home life.
This was a home with constant fighting, yelling, accusations of affairs, money troubles. This was a home filled with alcohol. Ethan was left home alone beginning from a very early age. Ethan did not have the support that he needed. It was glaringly obvious that he was not okay.
All right, so there's a lot that the judge has to consider here, and I had a chance to speak with a clinical attorney out of U of M who gave me some additional information about the context surrounding this. It dates back to a Supreme Court decision from 2012, which means that you have to treat minors very differently because they have developing brains. And the question of how disproportionate it might be for a youngster to be put away for life without the possibility of parole is what the judge has to consider here. She made it very clear to me that there is going to be a substantial distinction between what we'll see with someone who committed this crime at the age of 15 and someone who was a full adult at the time of committing the crime. So that 2012 Supreme Court decision certainly in the mind of the judge as he makes this decision and as he weighs a variety of factors that are very unique specifically to a minor. Now, we asked also if she could opine about the outcome. Of course, that's not something we can do and even ask for, but we will wait these multiple days to find out what the judge decides, us and certainly the rest of the nation. We're live. I'm Hillary Golston, Fox 2 News.